You've been shot. How many times have you been shot?
9 times.
9 times.
Yeah, it was only one situation though. It was one.
Well, yeah, okay.
50 Cent getting shot 9 times and surviving turned him into a rap legend, but over 20 years later, the case still hasn't been officially solved, from rap beef getting violent to a crazy murder for hire conspiracy.
When you're in my situation, there's no plan B. You know, it's music or we sell crack.
There are all kinds of rumors about why someone trying to take them out today. We're breaking it all down and answering the question of why 50 Cent got hit up 9 times and almost died before his career even started. 50 came up in Queens and was surrounded by street activity from a young age. His mother was a dealer in the neighborhood, but she tragically died in house fire when he was just 8 years old.
This is the nigga that Ja Rule's coming at right here. That's his man right here.
50 was taken in by his grandparents, but they couldn't keep him from going down the same path as his mom. He started selling crack at 12 years old and ended up getting busted with guns and drug money in the sophomore year of high school. By that point, he had both feet in the trenches, and in '94, he was booked for selling cocaine to an undercover cop. Less than a month later, he was arrested again after cops found more drugs and a gun in his house. And now some 15 knew he had to switch up value as moving after serving 6 months in a boot camp and getting his GED. 50 started trying to break into the rap game.
Get out the club, bitch. In my hood, they let the chopper spray. Somebody probably got shot to death.
At first, he was just laying down tracks in his homie's basement, but then he met Jam Master Jay from Run DMC and everything changed. Jay taught 50 how to really make records, and in '99, he linked up with a production team called Trackmasters and signed a deal for Columbia. In his records, 50 recorded almost 40 songs in 2 weeks with them, and one of those tracks allegedly led to him getting shot, and Jam Master Jay killed 50, dropped the track Ghetto. Quran shouted out all kinds of drug dealers from Queens, including Canvas Supreme McGriff, and his Supreme Team. McGriff is one of the most famous drug lords in the city back in the 80s. He and the Supreme Team were moving a crazy amount of weight, and McGriff allegedly had hundreds of dudes working for him in the streets, but like most massive drug rings, the whole thing came crashing down, and in '89 he was sentenced to 12 years in prison. He got out early in '94, then went back in for violating parole and came back out in '97. By the time 150 released Ghetto, Quran McGriff is already a legend in the city, and Fetty shouted out him and his nephew Gerald Prince Miller with the line, "Yo, when you hear talk of the South Side, you hear talk of the team. See feared Prince and respected praying for all you slow moths, I'ma break it down." Look, see, Preem was the businessman and Prince was the killer. Remember, he used to push the bulletproof BM just a few months after the track dropped. 50 was caught by a shooter outside of his grandma's house and got shot 9 times. According to rumors, McGriff wasn't happy with 50 airing out his business on the track. Even the IRS linked 50 shooting to the song, but nobody was ever officially charged, even though the case was never closed. Everyone pretty much knows that a dude named Daryl Baum, aka Homo, was the one who tried to take 50 out. Homo that ties to a lot of dudes and was even Mike Tyson's bodyguard at one point, and just 3 weeks after he allegedly shot 50, Hammer was found dead with gunshot wounds.
What's mine's is mine's. What's yours is mine's.
Damn, baby, all I need is a little bit. I wanna live good, so shit, I sell.
50 obviously thinks McGriff paid Homo to kill him, and on the track Many Men he said, "Now man, put money on my head, go on and get your refund, my thigh ain't dead." Then later in the track he called Homo out by name and said in the Bible it says, "What goes around comes around." Homo shot me 3. Weeks later, he got shot down. Now it's clear that I'm here for a real reason, cause he got hit like I got hit, but he ain't breathing ghetto. Quran is allegedly what sparked everything, but there's another reason why McGriff might have tried to kill 50. Back on McGriff got out of prison in '94. He wanted to get into cinematography and linked up with Irv Gotti for Murder Inc. Records, and from that point on, Murder Inc. and McGriff were always tight in '99. Ja Rule was the label's biggest star, and 50 took shots at Ja and the whole label with the track lights on the line. Murder Inc. affiliates were known for yelling, "It's murder," so 50 flipped it and implied they were all capping with the line, "Scream murder, I don't believe you murder, sat around and leave." You murder. I don't believe you murder, your life's on the line. Nobody really knows why John 50 started. They both came up in the same neighborhood, but they've been at war for over 20 years at this point, and it doesn't seem like they'll ever squash it 4 in the 50. It all started because Joe got his chain snatched in the hood and later saw 50 laughing with the dude who took it. John admits that if Shane was stolen from a dude, they both knew the guy with the gun won. You know, you guys take that hold on to that. Oh, not a problem, no saying. But he says 50's side of the story is all cap 50 and Jaw ended up getting into a fight after they were booked on the same show in Atlanta. And then a few months later, a Murder Inc. artist named Blackchild stabbed 50 when their crews run into each other at a studio that all went down just a few months before 50 was shot 9 times. And some people believe his beef with Jaw is the real reason he got hit up, but 50 wasn't the only dude who ended up getting hurt over the situation. After Ghetto Quran dropped, McGriff allegedly tried to blackball 50 from the industry and warned everyone not to work with him anymore. And when Jam Master Jay didn't listen, it allegedly cost him his life on October 30th, 2002. Jay was in his recording studio in Queens when somebody walked in and shot him in the head. And a year later, McGriff Irv Gotti and his brother Christopher Gotti were all investigated by the feds over Jay's death, according to the investigation. McGriff have been using Murder Inc. as a front to launder drug money for years, and the feds ended up raiding the label and arresting the Guardian brothers on laundering charges. They ended up getting found not guilty, but McGriff didn't get off as easily. 2007, he was convicted of murder for hire after he paid $50,000 to have 2 of his ops taken out in 2001. And while he was never charged with JF50 shootings, it's clear that McGriff had the ability to get people killed, while there's a lot of evidence, pointing towards McGriff power and Homo to kill 50. It turns out that Jam Master Jay's situation might be more complicated. Jay was legend in the game, but according to rumors, his financial situation had been on the decline for a long time, so he tried to get into the coke game in 2022. Arrests were finally made in the case, and Ronald Washington and Carl Jordan Jr. were indicted for Jay's murder. According to the indictment, Jay bought 10 keys of cocaine from a dude in Maryland and planned on having, but Washington and Jordan helped him move it. But something went down between the 3 of them. Jay allegedly cut him out, and that's why they killed him in his own studio. The trial's at the start in November, 21 years after Jay's tragic death. Right now, it looks like a drug deal gone wrong, but if McGriff and 50 are connected to it at all, we'll know soon.
Put the seat back when we rollin'. I let the system dump when we coastin'.
Most people believe McGriff is the dude who wants to have 50 kills. But there's a wild conspiracy theory that says Mike Tyson is actually the one behind the hit. There's no evidence to back it up, but some people think Tyson sent Homo after 50, then Homo was killed after he didn't finish the job. Fizzy ended up buying Tyson's 52-room mansion later on, and the theory says that the mansion was actually Tyson's way of paying 50 back or trying to have him killed. It's a wild theory, but in reality, the doodle is responsible for Homo's death is actually Damien. World Hardy Hardy was another kingpin in the city who ran a brutal drug ring called Cash Money. At brothers with his brother Myron in 2015, he was sentenced to life in prison for ordering the deaths of 6 dudes, including Homo and his brother Tyrone. According to reports, Homo and his brother were both linked to a dude named Ivory Davis, was one of Hardy's rivals in the drug game. David's nephew allegedly killed Hardy's brother Myron, and after that, Hardy went crazy, taking out everyone was affiliated with him. It was a tragic and crazy situation that ended with a lot of death, but it doesn't seem like Homo shooting 50 had anything to do with the war between Davis and Hardy at the end of the day. Everyone involved at Street Connections and violence is always a possibility when your feet are in the trenches. Luckily, 50 made out alive and went on to become one of the highest selling rappers of all time and used the crazy experiences he went through to make certified plastics in the booth. We'll probably never have a concrete answer about everything that led to him being shot, but what we do know is that surviving the streets of Queens back then was basically a miracle. 50 is on top of the charged like in the 2000s, but has come up in career, have already made him a certified living legend.